hope they're listening. And I actually ended up getting, after my downtown Disney trip, I ended up getting a survey from Disney. I don't know. It's kind of funny. But ironically, though, it had nothing to do with my downtown Disney. It was all about the parks. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to have a little more. I wish the survey was more targeted for what I actually experienced that day, which was downtown Disney, but it was more about the parks, which, but hey, they got their algorithms, whatever. But
right. And those surveys, I've heard they're quite interesting with some of the responses, some of the questions that they're asking.
They are quite they are interesting, and they're quite extensive. I always do them. I always take time out to do them, but it took me like 15 minutes. I mean, it kept going and going and going.
I received the survey, but I found it quite interesting because it actually stopped me before I even continued, because the whole survey was only if I owned a business.
Oh, well, they're very targeted. Yeah, this was kind of like, mine was like, it was weird because my whole trip was downtown Disney, but then they started asking me about like branding and stuff. Like they were asking me like what brands, and they gave me like a bunch of different brands, Disney and non-Disney, and asked me what brands like me and my family like. And there was like stuff on there like the Minions and DreamWorks, and they were asking me Star Wars, Harry Potter. They were asking about all the brands, and that was really focused. And then they got into the park stuff, but it went on forever. But I always do them because I just feel like it's important. Like that's the way you affect change. Like a lot of people in our fan community, they just want to bitch and moan on Twitter, and they think that's going to change anything. It's not. You vote with your wallet, and you participate in these surveys. That's the way you affect change.
Well, absolutely. And I've actually heard internally, it's interesting that you bring up the brands and all that kind of, in your survey results and your survey questions. I've actually heard internally that Disney is concerned about brand perception right now, not to an extent that maybe us as fans might not expect them to be, right? We always kind of think, they kind of think they're Disney, so they're going to just do what they want to do. And from what I understand internally, they're actually kind of concerned about brand perception. And in your case, it was more IP driven, but they do take those things seriously. Some of the surveys that I've heard that are asked, that I've heard that are sent out, even from people who may not book with them, maybe book with Universal. And they're going back and surveying them like, hey, why didn't you actually book with us? They are concerned about that perception of value and all these kind of things, because I think they're combing social media and some of their other optics or ways they get information, and finding that value is becoming a little bit of an issue. So keep those surveys coming, folks, because I have heard that they are concerned about it to a certain extent.
Yeah. No, you might be onto something, Dre, because they even mentioned, I remember in the survey, they were even asking about like awareness of certain things. Like prior to your visit, they asked me a question, something like this. It was like, prior to your visit, have you heard of Avengers Campus? Were you aware of Avengers Campus? Prior to your visit, were you aware of the Galactic Star Cruiser? Prior to your visit, were you aware of this and that? And it was very much like this brand awareness kind of driven survey. So you might be onto something with this. Like they might be really kind of scoping things out. And
that looks like from marketing and seeing if their marketing is actually being tailored in the right places. Are those dollars going to are being used as efficiently as possible, and getting that message out there, especially to, you're probably more of a key demographic for them, and they want to know, hey, is this reaching you? Do you know about this kind of stuff? Is what is your level of interest in Disney? And if it's high, have you, and if it's low, have you, kind of thing. That is absolutely fascinating. That's interesting.
It was very, very interesting.